All right, guys, how are you guys doing? I'm going to pull up the court order, but I just wanted to inform you guys of what is going on here. Let me go ahead and pull this up here. You should be able to see it here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit just so you can see it even more. But this was just filed today. I was dropping another video, so I didn't get to this. So I decided to do a live stream to mix it up. So I'll do one video that's not live. Let me just go remove this. I'm going to put another version of that up there. So so right now we're going to be talking about this. Unfortunately, what a lot of people predicted was going to happen actually did happen. Okay, so if you guys don't know, Duncan V Bonta was the case that was challenging California's magazine ban on high capacity magazines. I know that they're standard capacity magazines, but this was on high capacity magazines. Judge Benitez ruled that the ban on high capacity magazines holding more than 10 rounds, was unconstitutional. He stayed his order to give the circuit court a chance to weigh in on that. So no Freedom Week. The circuit court has now weighed in on it and said that they are going to stay the decision until they can hear the case. The interesting thing is the Ninth Circuit, the panel that was picked was the same exact panel that ruled that the state was well within the right to ban magazines, which was kind of interesting that they picked the same exact ones. So we're going to go down here. I read through this. There is a couple different things that the panel judges said. One of the things is that if this ban goes away, California will show reputable harm because large capacity magazines are a threat to public safety. Yes, let me tell you that once more. Large capacity magazines are a threat to public safety. Sounds like interest balancing. And what they do is they cite the Freedom Week. Back in 2019, it was knocked down, and for a week you could buy yeah, I'm not gonna read that, but yeah, you could buy whatever magazine you want, and people did. So they're saying that they're trying to prevent another Freedom Week, and if they don't, irreparable harm will be done to California. They also said that the public interest tips in the favor of the stay. They're saying that it's in the interest of the public that there is a stay. They are only deciding on the parts of the stay right now, but there's a couple different things that I want to point out. One thing that I want to point out is that they were trying to say that magazines are not in common use for lawful purposes. I guess all the common use that magazines are in are for unlawful purposes. And they specifically cited self-defense, which I thought was kind of crazy. There was a really, really good dissent, and I'm going to go over that in a second here, but Um, there is a good dissent where one of the judges, one of the conservative judges, um, actually called them out for being like anti-Second Amendment. And you can tell right here, so at issue here is California's ban on so-called large capacity magazines. You can tell right there the judge did not take kindly to them calling it large capacity magazines. This is one of the dissenting judges. And this is where the dissent says that the district court ruled against California large capacity magazine because it violated the Constitution, and they're citing Bruin here. They're citing Bruin in that large capacity magazines. I say that with finger quotation marks, are protected because of the Bruin decision says that they should be protected, and this judge gets it right. If you read here, in a thorough 71-page opinion, the district court held magazines were protected arms under the Second Amendment, and California failed to meet its burden to show a historical analog for the prohibition. I agree with that judge. What this judge is saying is that the California law violated the Bruin decision, and Judge Benitez put together a well-reasoned 71-page article stating, or an article, a ruling stating exactly why. And it was well written if you haven't read it. And let's read about this. In an unusual move, our en banc panel retained the emergency stay as a comeback case in the first instance, bypassing our traditional three-judge consideration of a motion. Okay, so it could have went to a three-judge panel, but what they did is it went to en banc, which is highly unusual. Indeed, it's perhaps the first time our court has ever done so. The majority then granted an administrative stay with 4 judges dissenting. Now a majority of the en banc court grants a stay pending of appeal, with little analysis or explanation of the Bruin requirements, saving California's large capacity magazine ban yet again. What he was saying is that the en banc panel didn't really give any reasons what that means. What this means is until the Ninth Circuit can hear the case, California magazine ban will stay into effect. 3 times now, the Supreme Court has warned the court not to treat the Second Amendment as a disfavored right. If you recall, in Bruin, Justice Thomas, my reader is not here. Justice Thomas basically said that the Second Amendment is not a second-class right, and you can't treat it as a second-class right because they did something called interest balancing, which no other right has ever used. Interest balancing was weighing the interest of the state versus the interest of the people. You can't do that with constitutional rights, and Justice Thomas pointed out that calls. Reviewing our historical tradition consistent with Bruin demonstrates that the Second Amendment does not countenance California's ban on large capacity magazines. But the majority, once again, deprives Californians of a fundamental right, and we respectfully dissent. So SCOTUS can do something about it. SCOTUS can definitely do. So they're dissenting. Second Amendment text and historical understanding. The operative clause in the Second Amendment commands that the right of people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, which is exactly right. It codifies a pre-existing fundamental right, one that comes from God or the universe or whatever you believe in. One rooted in natural right of resistance and self-preservation. And what they're doing, they're quoting Heller. That's all from the Heller. So, and they're saying that the Second Amendment is a right of inherent self-defense, not only from robbers and muggers, but from a tyrannical state. And the right is so deeply rooted in the nation's history and tradition that it is fully applicable to the states. It's basically saying the Second Amendment is a fundamental right on a federal level, but it is so inherently American, inherently right, that it applies to the states as well. So this dissent's pretty damn strong. I linked it in the description below if you want to read it. It's very, very strong. And it also talks about how the Ninth Circuit appear to be using interest balancing, which that's dark, the audio after dark, which according to the state, let me just according to the interest balancing, according to the Burn decision, cannot be activated against rights like the Second Amendment. So yeah, that is what it talks about. It also talks about how the Second Amendment is not just limited to the arms that were available during the signing of the Second Amendment, which a lot of the judges on the Ninth Circuit did. Saying there's no proper analog. It basically rejects the whole entire thing. The dissent is a hell of a lot longer than the actual granting of the motion. So, yeah. So there you go. Californians right now, legally, according to California law, cannot acquire magazines holding more than 30 rounds until the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals hears the appeal. And honestly, I don't think we're going to get a proper solution out of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. I think this is going to have to go to SCOTUS, and they will have to decide once and for all. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals will probably slow roll this case, so I don't think it's going to be brought up anytime soon. What they will do is they are going to stall the shit out of this case because they don't want it to go to SCOTUS. So they will stall the shit out of this case. Now, what the plaintiffs can do is they can go directly to SCOTUS and ask SCOTUS to intervene. But SCOTUS does not really like to do that. It likes to let things play out. If you saw in the Antioch case, yeah, I was trying to get you on, Dark. But if you saw in the Antioch case, they said that it has to work its way through the circuit court. And also today in Gonzala versus Hochul, we saw another similar thing where they want it to work through the circuits before they step in. So this is going to be a long battle. I don't think it's going to be done this year. I don't think the chances are that might not be done in 2024. But the magazines bans, not only in California but everywhere, it is going to get knocked down. It's just a matter of time. So we'll have to see what happens here. But yeah, that's it. Just to let you guys know, I have a new book out. It's a pretty cool book. I think you guys might like it. It's actually for pre-order on Kindle right now, but it's going to be everywhere. So if you want to order on Kindle, you can go ahead and do that. There is it's also on Kindle Unlimited. It's going to be in Barnes and Noble, select Barnes and Noble store, Barnes and Noble websites, and on a bunch of different websites, Google Books, everything else. So yeah, it's not 50 Shades of Crump. That is the pre-order for the Kindle book on November 1st. The paperback and hardcover will be coming out. I'm going to have a few books here that I'm going to sign, and I will sell for $5 extra to cover shipping. So if you want to sign a copy, you can do that. I probably have at least 10 of them. Yeah. So, Shopify's trying to take down DoD hardware. Interesting. I'll talk to you about that. I'll call you back in a second, Dark. But that is it for right now. I just wanted to keep you informed a lot of stuff is breaking in the legal sphere. I thought I was going to have an easy day, but apparently not, because I never do. All right, guys, I will see you tomorrow. I have some other stuff I'm working on. I just haven't got a chance to work on it yet. But yeah, there's some interesting stuff coming out. So stay tuned to that. And with that, just remember that I love you, and remember you mean a lot to me, and